Facebook. So welcome everyone. Your favorite business minds are back side by side by side. Thought we would switch it up for you today just to keep you all on your toes. I am James, the Ascension Coach. I help people connect with higher states of consciousness, align with their higher selves, and connect with their soul purpose. And what I love about this is we can just kind of go in a row now. So I'll let let Dr. Melissa introduce herself.
For me. So I'm Melissa Robinson Weinmiller, and I am the Empathy Queen. And what I do is I help leaders learn how to leverage EQ through the use of empathy to increase innovation, productivity, and profit. So that even the most grouchy, Scroogey, Montgomery Burns of leaders can hear that this is going to help.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Fabulous. And great topic for today, isn't it, Melissa? It's about leadership.
Yeah.
And my name's Lisa Marie, surname Marie, just to clarify that. I like to clarify that every week for the new listeners. And welcome to everybody and the new listeners. My mission and vision on this planet is very simple. It's to help people become limitless. And what that means is really to help people. I'm really speaking to the obsessed, high-achieving maniacs on a mission out there who are striving for that life of greatness. And but there's things holding them back. Sometimes they don't know what it is. To basically remove the limits that are seen and unseen, and to help them rewire their body and their mind to have the most abundant life of joy, wealth, impact on this planet. And I'm here in my playground with my favorite friends who are those obsessed high achievers on a mission as well.
Absolutely. And I think we all have shared that this is one of our favorite moments, if not favorite moment of the week. And we get to share it all with you, and from the feedback that we've gotten, it seems that you enjoy us as well. So we're just going to keep it up. So today we're talking about how to be the type of leader no one can ignore. So I know, Lisa, that was a topic that you introduced. So do you want to kind of lead us off?
Actually, I'd love Melissa to go first, because this is really her passion and her wheelhouse. And first of all, I'd just like to let everybody know we're doing things a little bit differently this week. We don't know how to change the camera view, so we feel like three little birdies sitting on a wire together right now. and it's so cute. But over to you. Clearly we're not the tech experts on social media, so you basically get what happens on the day.
Yeah, I don't know why they put me in charge of this. I should have warned them beforehand that, hey, look, I just wing it, as my friend Lisa said. I just wing it. We already in it now, so here we go. So Dr. Melissa.
You got it. So what we're talking about here is how to become the kind of leader who is more than just effective, who is more than just able, who is more than just the kind of person that can get a hold of the skills and do what they need to do. And the way to do that is by actually connecting with people. And the way you connect with others is by first connecting with yourself. So now we're talking specifically about where this idea of empathy and self-empathy begins. And that's with self-reflection. And unfortunately, this is the down and dirty part that people don't like to do, because you might not like what you see, and it might be painful, and it might be dirty and yucky, and you may have to slog through the mud. But it's exactly like the saying says, charity starts at home. So you first have to be able to show empathy and compassion for yourself before you can do it for anybody else. And that means taking the time to dig in, to really stop and self-reflect. Now, when I'm talking to people specifically about self-reflection, and I mean, this is something going all the way back. Peter Drucker writes about it all the time, and he's like the business guru guy with all the great sayings. And the way I like to teach it is to say you have to reflect in, reflect on, and reflect after. So it's not enough just to go, I wonder what I think about myself. You have to actually reflect on it. And that means reflect in. You're reflecting in the moment. How is this working? How is this going? Am I connecting? Looking at the people around you. There we go. And saying, are they with me? Are they connecting with me? Or am I just blathering? Am I just verbally assaulting everybody until they give in? Reflect in, reflect on what just happened. How did this happen? Where did I go? How did I get here? And when I'm talking about reflection, I tend to think of it as like mini meditations throughout the day. So it isn't something where you have to sit for hours at a time, yes, and say, and light a candle. You can do it quickly. You can sit for a moment and actually reflect in and reflect on. Then you reflect after the fact. How did this work? How did this work compared to how I did it before? How did this work with my people? What feedback am I getting? Are my people too afraid to give me feedback? What's going on in this situation and how can I make it better? And if there's a single skill that I think can actually enhance leadership exponentially, it's this ability to reflect and self-reflect. So yeah, I can preach the whole hour if you want. I can just keep going.
Well, I'd love to ask you a question, Melissa.
Yeah.
Clearly, there is a reason why the whole core foundation of being an empath. Oh, it is Tuesday morning here. I'll just spit that out when that word, leader.
I got you.
Because you've clearly been exposed to many types of leadership in your life and your careers. And so why is this so important to you? Because this is being crowned the Empathy Queen is really what an honor, what an absolute honor. And, taking that into leadership. So what has driven you to this particular mission?
Because I think it's the single defining thing that can either make everything that I try to teach work or block it. Because if you have leaders that are fighting insecurity, if maybe they're fighting the ego, that they have to be right, that they have to be in control, that they have to be powerful, that they're fighting an inability to admit that I don't know everything, that I haven't got all the answers, that I would be better if I actually went to my people and asked questions. If you have people that are fighting these kind of blockages, they can't self-reflect until they self-reflect and say, okay, I need to get out of my own way. I need to get my ego out of the way. I need to get my insecurity out of the way. I need to get these things that are me, but aren't actually helping me or anybody else out of the way. They're not going to be able to progress. And I think that goes way beyond leadership to just who we are as ourselves. We can't progress beyond where we are until we can get out of our own way.
I think the three of us know that, don't we?
Yes. There's two carry over here.
Yes, and definitely the leader that doesn't follow this path, they probably don't retain staff. They probably don't have cohesion in the environment. They probably don't have a consistent bottom line. So yeah, it doesn't serve anybody, especially the business aspect of it. James, obviously, I just seem to be the lucky one that has this thing, in my box every time. Just saying.
You seem to attract that. I don't know know how you do it.
I know. Well, I am magnetic to a lot of things. Maybe there's a magnet in the little squares. I don't know.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
I made a list. I like making a list. So, and I loved what you had to say, Melissa, because our topic today it's about self-leadership. And that's the type of leader that people can't ignore, because it all starts at home. And that's a great topic to lead off with, because as little children, we are led. And sometimes the people in that position of authority is really crappy at what they do. And they're not a leader, but they have an authoritarian role. And then we look outside of that, you know, in the schooling system, in the church system. We, as little people, we get exposed to all of these people who are telling us what to do. And that has a massive impact on how we actually see ourselves, how we fit into that. And if we're bullied in all of these authority, I'm having trouble speaking today, or maybe it's winter because my lips are a little bit cold.
You just got to warm up. Keep talking.
Yeah,
I do. I did 𝐥𝐬𝐤𝐞𝐤 this morning, but I didn't put enough clothes on after that. And yeah, so I'd really like to start there, because my leaders, the people who brought me into the world should not have been in a position of looking after children. And so I learnt with a very different lens of how to treat people. And I think this is really important to self-reflect of what environment did you grow up in. Generally determines how you actually treat people, because this is the behavior that you've learned, correct?
Yeah.
And so I was one of those leaders who do what I say, because, you know, I was always prepared, because I've had leadership roles in my careers growing up, and I was not a very nice person, but I didn't have any other role model to learn from. I had to figure it out. I'd like everybody to write this word down. I'm going to figure it out. No, there's more than one word there. I did not do well at math. Okay, that's why I became a scientist with the human body. So, but because I was literally I had no nurturing, and I was neglected. From a young age, I had to figure it out, and so when you do try and do that, because I was prepared to do whatever it takes to become successful, to become whatever, and because I was prepared to do anything. That was my expectation of other people. It's like, I've walked this path, you do it if you want to achieve X, Y, Z. And I think, you know, a lot of people go through that transition on their journey of becoming a better person and empathic.
That's great. You got it. You're fine. You're doing good.
That leader.
You are talking Lisa like a 5-year-old. Sound it out, Lisa. Just sound it out.
How many syllables? I didn't do well at English either.
But you're doing great. You're doing great,
You're doing
actually.
fine. Yes.
Yes, you're doing
Thank you. But I'm gonna work through a list really quickly. Is it okay if I do this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, I want to let people know that we didn't arrive as the polished product, did we?
No.
And it's so important to understand that I've messed up a lot. I've hurt a lot of people on the road to where I am now. And gosh, it's so great to be able to almost do that full hero's journey and pay that forward and try and make the world a better place, because I didn't do a really good job for the first 50 years. It's going to be all right. I'm awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Jason. I reckon I'm awesome. I reckon you're awesome too. And I reckon all three of us are awesome here. In fact, everybody online is awesome. You just have to actually understand that you are. And we're here to help that. So these are really important self things that go with self-leadership. I'm going to read through the list really quickly. Self-awareness. So many people are not self-aware. Self-regulation. A lot of people don't do that either. Self-motivation. A lot of people don't know how to get that. Self-discipline. No. Self-goal setting. A lot of people set goals, but they don't know how to achieve it. In fact, I have done a great masterclass on the difference between goal setting and goal achieving. Self-reward, and the big one is self-reflection, which is what Melissa was really honing in on. And these are the obstacles. I've got a quick list I'm going to go through, and we, obviously, if people want to expand on that further in the comment box, or, we bring this up as another topic, because self-leadership, there are so many obstacles in the way. Would you guys agree that our self is the biggest one?
Yeah, without question.
Lack of self-awareness. Guess what? That's first on the list. External dependence. We're looking for external validation on everything that we do because we don't think we're okay. And that's sad. A lot of people feel that way. Fear of failure. And I'm going to put fear of success in there as well. That's a big one. Procrastination. I could say that word okay. That's a big word. I did well.
Good job, Lisa.
Lack of motivation. We're a very unmotivated society, aren't we? Because we're so obsessed with instant gratification. Poor time management. Negative self-talk. Environmental distractions. Social media is probably one of the biggest ones. It's frying our brain, literally. Sufficient skills and knowledge. We have the internet at our fingertips with millions of resources, so you can learn lots of free stuff. And so there's no excuse there. It's literally lack of discipline and lack of motivation that does that. Stress and burnout, unclear goals. And the biggest thing, resistance to change. I'm gonna end on that one and hand it over to James.
So you sparked a lot of thoughts for me, Lisa, because I went back to, I've had position of leadership, positions of lead. Now I got the Lisa thing going on.
Thank God I'm not alone.
Contagious.
We were rolling together, James.
That's it. So I've had leadership roles, but I go back to when I first really kind of feel like I was in that space, and it was in a church environment. I was a Christian minister, and I was given charge of the young adults, which was 18 to 40. And it was a 13,000 member church, and the young adults made up about 5,000 plus. And I remember speaking to the outgoing young adult minister, and he said, no one shows up for anything. No one does. No one comes to any events or anything. And I was like, okay, how am I gonna turn this around? And so, I've said this in many conversations. I always say, Jesus is my God. Like, that is even my example of leadership. And I looked at how he gathered 12 people, 12 disciples, to help him spread the message. And so I said, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to identify 12 people. They be very intelligent, very popular, or that they have some level of influence. And I called it the Young Adult Council. And I said, just give me ideas, whatever you give me, we're going to strongly consider it. I'll fight for it. And that really, it really became not just a big deal at that church, but it became a big deal in that area. And so when I think of leadership, it's also recognizing people that are smarter than you, and being able to humble yourself and going, hey, give me what you got. I'm gonna try to make it work. It's obviously studying and researching and listening to people like you and Lisa, Dr. Melissa, and really just kind of gleaning from that. But it's understanding this is bigger than me, and so I need to draw other resources in that help me look good. Like Mike talks about this all the time, how he's awesome, but he talks about how we make him look good. And that's how I started to really define it. And even as a coach, my team makes me look good. They may not get the recognition, or they may not be front and center, but it's all because of them. And so for me,
concept, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, and it's funny because before that time, I felt like, man, I really want to be a leader. Like I said, I had leadership roles, but I never felt like a leader. But I felt like a leader in that space because I recognize that this is bigger than me and this has to extend beyond me. Mm. So that's how I became a type of leader that they can't ignore, because I was able to identify resources and people to help me look like someone you can't ignore.
Yeah, and that's so powerful, because you think of the Richard Bransons, and they recruit people who are smarter than him it's finding people in their genius zone and handing the reins over to them, because if it's not in your wheelhouse, it's so much energy consumed trying to figure it out, even spell and put syllables together. But that's James, and bit of a delayed reaction there. But you got it.
It took a moment to register, but I got it. Good.
And so what was the end result of you having that council? Share what happened.
Yeah, so I would meet with them again. I would get their ideas, and I told them, I said, whatever you come up with, if you say we want to have a pink elephant walk through the church, I'm going to see if we can make it work. I'm going to see if we can make it work. And there was literally a moment, Lisa, where, and I say this with no regrets. There was a moment where I was at I was putting together a retreat for them. And I was at my grandfather's funeral, and the church, how the church can be sometimes, I had to fight for that retreat. I was at the funeral on a call with the church office, trying to make sure this retreat takes place. And so it has to also be that leader that cares. And I think that's what they recognize as well. And so the type of leader that they can't ignore, and this really is what embodies our community, is that we care about each other. If somebody's doing something and we have time, we're going to hop on, we're going to support them the same way that Mike and 𝐥𝐬𝐤 and those who are commenting now are doing. And so I learned it's about community. And so the outcome was, it blew up in that church, and it was in Maryland. And so it extended to the DC area, it extended to the Virginia area. And because of what we were able to do, that church is still in good standing with that young adult ministry, even to this day. And that was, again, having a conversation with the former leader, and he's going, I don't know why no one shows up. And I'm going, okay, I got to do something different. We got to do something different. And then just gleaning from the teachings of a person I call the master, Jesus. So, yeah.
And that's really key. I mean, if there was self-reflection done on the previous minister, he could probably eventually figure out why no one was showing up.
Absolutely.
However, what a brilliant vision of the future to choose a group of our future leaders.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
We should be really focused on our future generations in everything that we do. If we're going to sustain the planet, to be a human race that actually communicates with each other, you know, there's just so much that we're behind the 8 ball on. And you know, I don't know who made the quote, but I've actually done a post with it because I've got a little poster of it, and it's exactly that: be so good that they can't ignore you. And we don't want followers. We actually want community, because I don't see myself any better than anybody else. And I think that's important in hierarchy. And I know that both of you feel exactly the same. You know, no matter what title you have, I don't. Yes, there are people who have earned a particular status position because of whatever, but I'm very much about, we're all human at the end of the day. We all bleed red. We all have human needs, and that's where I lead from.
Yeah, and it's being able to connect with people. There was something that was missing in my thought process, and that's big as well. Being able to connect with people. When we first started talking about this, like I typed the list that Lisa gave us, but even before that, I remember something that. I remember something. What is his name? I can't think of his name right now, but he talked about people connect with people who are like them or like who they want to be.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about being a type of leader they can't ignore, it's being able to connect with them in a way where there's some symmetry. You feel like, I know this person, and that's how I found my leadership style. My leadership style isn't just chest out, head up, and this is what. No, it's being able to connect with people as if you're in my living room. This is what this feels like to me. It's just, I'm just hanging out with Lisa, Melissa. We're just maybe having coffee or whatever. We're just talking. That's my leadership style, and that's not everybody's leadership style, but that's how I connect with people who are like me or people who recognize themselves in me. And then also being able to bring that value, being able to do your homework on some things and being able to bring that value is now, you're someone like who they would like to be, or you're bringing value and providing something that they want to implement in their life. And so, yeah, I can't think of that guy's name. Really popular life coach. Matter of fact, probably the most popular life coach that's ever been. Gosh, I can't think of his name.
You're not talking about Brendan Burchard, are you?
No, not Brendan Burchard. Gosh, what is his name? Like Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins.
Oh, Tony.
Yeah, Tony Robbins.
I was going to say Tony, but I thought, anyway, we won't go there.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth noting as you're talking too, if I'm talking to someone in leadership and they're doing exactly what you're talking about, you've just changed the entire culture. Through your leadership, you have taken a culture that was very laissez-faire and hands-off and created a culture of collaboration and belonging. So to everybody that's like, oh, you can't change culture. Oh, it can't happen. Oh, it takes all. No. If you can come in and you can.
So while we wait for Dr. Melissa, I'm sure she's going to come back. Lisa, you have your magic wand you had from last show. I'm sure she will. I'm sure she will join us. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, well, this was relevant for Melissa. And while you were speaking, James, I was thinking of birds of a feather flock together, right? And that there is no leader in a flock or a school of fish or a swarm.
Yeah.
They actually go through energy and vibration, which is the next thing I was going to talk about. Nikola Tesla's quote is, oh dear.
She's just probably coming back on. She's probably coming back.
If we think in terms of the universe as energy, frequency, and vibration, that's the cohesion, that's the community that you want to build. And hopefully Melissa comes in right at the right time, because I was going to talk about, I know, I don't have my magic wand this week. Is that she's a musician and she's been in orchestras. And is that how you say plural? Orchestras? Oh, I don't know. Orchestra?
I don't know either. We are the same, Lisa, so I don't know.
Whatever works, right? Somebody type in the word, what's plural for orchestra?
What's plural for orchestra?
And that's oh gosh, I'm having goosebumps just thinking about what happens in that environment of all of the musicians. They've got their little piece of music to play, but when it all comes together,
one sound.
Powerful. And Melissa said one very important word before she froze and dropped off the planet is belonging.
Yeah.
People want to feel like that they belong to something.
Yes, Lisa. Yes.
I'm getting goosebumps just even thinking about this. This is the power of community and creating being around a leader that helps you feel like you belong.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good, Lisa. That's so good. I think that probably encapsulates my whole approach, and that's what I meant when I said it's like I'm on my couch. We're just hanging out, and so it's not there's me and then there's you, and even my clients literally to some degree become my friends. Like I treat them as if my friends, and that sense of belonging is a part of is a big part of that. So that was a really great point. That was a really great point. You know what? I'm interested, for those who are watching, what do you think? Just put it in the comments. What do you think makes for a great leader?
Yeah.
And even if you're watching this on replay, but if you're watching it live or you're watching the replay, just post in the comments, what do you think makes for a great leader?
Melissa's not in the back room trying to get in, is she?
No, she's not. I'm waiting for her.
Yeah. That's okay. I've got my beautiful treasury of quotes here.
I've been waiting for props, and I've been waiting for Jim Rohn. Let's go.
His first quote under leadership, and there are several quotes in here, but obviously the first one is gold. The challenge of leadership is to be strong but not rude, be kind but not weak, be bold but not a bully, be thoughtful but not lazy, be humble but not timid, be proud but not arrogant, and have humor without folly.
Look who joined the party.
Sorry. We've been
having
horrible tornadoes and stuff here, and I'm going to assume the internet just blew out and I'm on my hotspot. So
are you in Houston? Melissa, where are you at? Where are you at again?
I'm in Kansas City.
Tornado Alley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
3 touchdown by him in Oklahoma. My husband Dan had 3 touchdowns by him in Oklahoma last night. So
wow. Yeah, I've been hearing about that. I would hear Houston, but I guess that whole general area there is getting wow.
So my apologies.
No. That is that.
Don't have to apologize.
Yeah.
I was thinking tornado, and there she goes. And we spoke about what's the plural for orchestra?
Yeah, is it orchestras?
1 orchestra, 2 orchestras. Yeah. Just
okay. You did good, Lisa. You did good. You're good. I thought that might be it too. So good.
Maybe it's this not on the screen, because as soon as you asked me that, like every word went right out of my head. So maybe it's just if you're on the end, that's what happens.
I love it.
Well,
Okay, so somebody asked,
that could
somebody,
be an excuse, but I have that problem all the time, Melissa.
Maybe it was just like I go the other way. It's all like just falling out of my ear over here.
I love it.
Well,
So-
we spoke about you, and we spoke about you said a powerful word before you went and froze, and then disappeared.
Because you never freeze.
That was a great example.
James never freezes. You said one of the most powerful things that James and I spoke about, which I think really is the sum of this whole thing, is that belonging. A great leader will help people feel like they belong, and that's what people want to feel. It's a human need. And then we spoke about resonance, and I don't know, were you still on when I said there is no leader in a flock of birds or a school of fish?
I think
Yeah.
But I
Yeah. So it went a bit woo while you were gone. And then I just read there's some great things coming up here, because James asked a question, what people look for in a good leader. But I read a quote by Mr. Jim Rohn, and did you want me to just quickly recap on that, because you were coming in as I was reading it?
Yeah, recap on that, and then we still want to hear Melissa's point after that, though. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah, you go for it, Melissa. Go.
Oh, what I was making about culture, you mean?
Yeah. Wait, 1 second, Melissa. Before you went, and it fell off.
Well, that's what I mean. You never freeze like, it's always
right. It's never a nice pose like.
Yeah, right. You're never going to look cool in a freeze. You think the odds would say that at least once in a while you should freeze looking like better than what
Yeah.
you look like.
When did that actually happen? It never works that way.
The peanut butter side of the bread always drops down, right? It doesn't matter. Half the time it should drop up, never happens, ever.
Too funny.
True. That's life. But yeah, so coming back out of the freeze, yeah, the culture, the fact that you changed the culture, and I bet that the culture started to change pretty quickly. And the thing I wanted to add that I think is interesting is, so of course my husband is stuck with me, and so he has to do what I say, even though he's like 6 states away. And he walked into this place, which they said, we need help with our culture. We want you to help with our culture. And for once in his life, he actually did what I told him to do. So he gets full credit for that.
That's a win. That's a win.
And he changed the culture in 10 business days.
Wow.
And that's the power of belonging.
Yeah. Wow. Good stuff.
And the thing is from what you were saying, as well as the position he's in, it wasn't a top level position where the culture had to come down. He's in a middle management position. You were in a middle position, and yet you were able to get the culture to spread. So this idea that you can only affect this if you are the top dog leader is baloney.
Right.
All of us can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now Melissa's getting really cross. She said baloney.
I know.
you tell him, Melissa.
Don't make the red hair come out.
Right.
I just on a side note, I have some beautiful friends who live in another state, and we're on a road trip together. And Jude was driving along, and her husband's in the front seat. Brad and I are in the back. And she said something, and then said, "Ding, dang it!" And Rod, ever so calmly, looked over and said, "Judith, you have to stop swearing."
That was Australian for dadgummit.
Right. Or gosh darn it or something. Good stuff.
Funny.
Good stuff. So
okay, well, we'll quickly read Jim Rohn again, and then you might read out some of those things before we end the call, James, about what people are typing in the comment box. But the challenge of leadership is to be strong but not rude, to be kind but not weak, be bold but not a bully, be thoughtful but not lazy, be humble but not timid, be proud but not arrogant. and have humor, but without folly.
Good
Jim
stuff.
Rohn.
The great Jim Rohn. Good stuff. Good
Very
stuff.
powerful.
So it looks like we just had one comment for now. A lot of our people will eventually watch the replay and comment. But Dr. Catherine, who's also a member of our house community, she said, be a good listener and be able to take and implement suggestions. And that speaks to that humility of, even though you're in this position, still connecting with people that maybe know more or smarter than you, and being able to be open to that. So that's a really good suggestion.
Yeah, not being an autocratic leader.
Absolutely. It's not a dictatorship that, I guess that works in some countries and other places, but definitely it should be a democracy where everyone's kind of working together for the common goal. So good stuff.
Command and control no longer works.
No, it doesn't.
Say that again, Melissa?
The command and control style of leadership just doesn't work.
No,
Yeah.
it's outdated. It's definitely outdated. So it looks like we're at our time. And so hopefully you've gleaned from those who are watching, hopefully you've gleaned something that calls you to pause and think, and even just what Lisa shared with us about self-awareness, self-regulation, self-motivation, self-discipline, self-goal setting, self-reward, self-reflection. I hope I didn't miss one. Just even sitting with one or all of those will greatly move the needle in being the type of leader that they can't ignore. And I can darn near say, and I believe the ladies are with me, can promise you, if you just spend time reflecting on that and looking at how you can implement that into your business, they won't be able to ignore you at all. So
You'll be a nicer person as well.
a nicer person as well. Absolutely. Extends to all of your life. I love it. I love it. So ladies, anything you want to close out with before we close out?
No, just full of giggles again. It was so fun. I'm almost a little bit comfortable with this arrangement.
Well, look, and it's so funny. We never know what's going to happen in whatever episode we're in. So whether it's somebody saying something, whether we talk about Fraggle Rocks, Muppets, the layout changes, you just never know. That's why you all have to tune in and see what's coming down the pipe next. So good stuff. So everyone have an amazing rest of the week. Make lots of connections, make lots of money, serve with all your might, and we'll talk with you all soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.